My fiancé returned victorious from the war, yet a female general who'd fought side by side with him walked at his side. At the victory feast, she blocked cup after cup of wine for him. The general was wounded saving me, he cannot drink. The emperor raised an eyebrow, glancing at the pair. Where is the wound? If it's a mortal injury to his core, I cannot betroth my cousin to you. Coincidentally, a dance ended just then, and the musicians fell silent. The entire palace hall hushed in an instant. Like all the civil and military officials, I watched the two at the adjacent table with great interest. The man was Lu Shiyang, my betrothed, who'd just triumphed at the border and returned to the court. This was his victory feast, and he was the toast of the town. The woman was Lin Yushuang. Lu Shiyang introduced her as the left-wing vice-general, an extraordinary woman he'd met at the border. This victory owed much to her intimate knowledge of the border terrain. Once, they'd fallen into an ambush. Teetering on the brink of total annihilation, it was Lin Yushuang who knew a water route to safety at the rear, leading the army to retreat. She herself had nearly been killed, and Lu Shiyang had risked his life to save her, sustaining severe injuries. The two shared a bond forged in life and death. I could see that clearly. Their friendship ran deep indeed. Lu Xian's face darkened instantly. Lin Yushuang bit her lip, hurrying to explain for him. No, the general's wound is not to his core. Lu Xiang frowned. A Shuang, stop talking. He held a wine cup in his hand, raising it respectfully. Your Majesty, your subject is filled with fear and trepidation. I saw no trepidation in him, only that name. A Shuang, such an intimate address. I clicked my tongue. This man was tainted. Not worth having any more, too. I exchanged a glance with the emperor, and he immediately read my thoughts. But today was Lu Xian's victory feast, and it would not do to humiliate him too openly. The matter was about to pass, yet Lin Yushuang, chided by Lu Xiang's eyes reddened with tears. Her voice was soft and low. I only wanted to explain for the general. It is a Shuang's fault. But general, you truly cannot drink. The military physician urged it repeatedly. Her words trembled with a sob. The emperor on the dragon throne had already raised his wine cup, yet set it down again at her words, his movements sharp, spilling some wine. Lu Xian's eyes filled with even greater panic. A Shuang. Kneel and beg for forgiveness at once. Lin Yushuang finally came to her senses, dropping to her knees and kowtowing repeatedly. Spare me, your Majesty, spare me. It is this general's fault. I glanced at the emperor. He was utterly speechless, ready to put this cloying, scheming Lin Yushuang in her place. It was my turn to step forward. Since the vice-general has admitted her fault, does she know where she went wrong? Lin Yushuang stared at me in a daze, her mouth opening and closing. Unable to speak, she had no idea where she'd erred. The atmosphere grew tense. Lin Yushuang knelt there, helpless. The emperor had not bid her rise, and she dared not move an inch. Lu Xiang could not bear to watch any longer. Zhaorong, do not make things difficult for a Shuang. She is a woman of the borderlands, unschooled in the etiquette and rules of the palace. Lu Xiang, if she does not know, then do you? The emperor's voice held a hint of anger at his words. Lu Xiang finally came to his senses. He had spoken in the heat of the moment. This was his emperor, my elder cousin. How dare Lu Xiang speak to me so? Your subject, your subject, your subject spoke out of turn. Lu Xiang stammered. The emperor's face clouded over, ignoring his words. The hall fell into a deathly silence, broken only by the ticking of the water clock. Sweat beaded on Lu Xian's forehead, seeing the emperor remain silent. He hastily rose unsteadily from his seat and knelt beside Lin Yushuang. Only then was the emperor satisfied. Let the princess continue. I had no choice but to stand before the two of them. They knelt. I stood looking down at the pair. I thought only one thing. What bad luck. 3. You have two faults. First, at the victory feast, you blocked cup after cup of wine for the general, stealing the limelight, your merit overshadowing your lord's. I raised a second finger slowly and deliberately. Second, the emperor did not ask you to speak, yet you interjected. Gross disrespect in the imperial presence. Since you hold a military post, you are the emperor's subject. For your faults, you must be punished according to the rules. Lin Yushuang's face turned deathly pale in an instant, her lips trembling. Unable to utter a word, the emperor hummed in assent. Then what punishment does my cousin deem fit for this vice-general? Lu Xiang looked up at me, begging softly, Princess. A Shuang is at fault, but she rendered invaluable service in this great battle and commands the army's loyalty. To punish her would fearfully. Is he threatening me? I bent down, bringing my ear close to Lu Xian's. What did you say? Speak up. Neither the emperor nor I heard you. Lu Xian's expression contorted in rage, as if he had suffered a great humiliation. Seeing this, Lin Yushuang suddenly stopped crying, pressing her hands to the ground. If the princess wishes to punish me, this general will bear it. General, say no more. The emperor slammed his fist on the dragon case. It is not the princess who wishes to punish you, but I, Lu Xiang. Has this vice-general repeatedly obfuscated the truth today on your orders? Lu Xiang jolted, his face paling drastically, all trace of his earlier arrogance toward me gone. His large, burly frame, clad in armor, shook like a leaf in the wind. The armor plates clinked and clattered, drawing the laughter of all present. After all, he was still my fiancé. Our engagement had not yet been broken. I had to smooth things over for him, whether I liked it or not. Your Majesty, General Lu is utterly loyal. He would never do such a thing. Lu Xiang nodded vigorously beside me. This was all the doing of Vice-General Lin alone. Nothing to do with the general, is that not so? I looked at Lu Xiang, and he met my gaze with a frown, his eyes brimming with resentment. What a man! I was clearly speaking up for him. And he still resented it. Yes. Lu Xiang ground out a single word through his teeth. Lin Yushuang knelt with her forehead pressed to her hands, twisting her neck to stare at Lu Xiang, her eyes filled with grievance. Lu Xiang hung his head, avoiding her gaze. I let out a cold laugh. Then let the vice-general be flogged 20 times, a small punishment to teach a lasting lesson. 4. At the number 20, Lin Yushuang's head shot up, staring at me in disbelief. 20. Only those who commit grave crimes in the military are flogged 20 times. Princess, this is. She dared not finish, for the emperor hummed again, his tone cold. I added, these are 20 palace floggings, far lighter than military ones. Even palace maids who can endure them. As a vice-general who has marched and fought, you are strong and robust, you will surely bear it. Before they could speak, the emperor hummed in assent, waving a hand. Do as the princess says. Take her away. Tears filled Lin Yushuang's eyes, and she stared at me with bitter hatred. Imperial guards flanked her on either side. Seeing that Lu Xiang did not dare to utter another word, she followed them out of the hall, unwilling and resentful. Lu Xiang watched her being dragged away, his face filled with anxiety. Close the hall doors. Do not disturb the emperor and the general. The victory feast must go on. With that, I returned to my seat. The emperor raised a hand. Enough. Rise, General Lu. Today is your victory feast. You cannot remain kneeling all the while. Lu Xiang obeyed the order, sweeping his robe and sitting back down. The palace feast resumed, and a new troupe of dancers filed in. As if nothing had happened moments before, I sat at the table next to Lu Xiang, not far away. The music was loud, drowning out his deliberately lowered voice. Zhaorong, you went too far today, using your status as a princess to bully others. You have disappointed me greatly. You are my fiancé, and I do not wish for a wife who bullies others with her power. I choked on my wine. It seemed his brain was not functioning well. I spoke in a sarcastic, drawling tone. Then marry a Shuang instead. Lu Xiang froze. That cannot be. She is my vice-general. I only see her as a younger sister. After speaking, his gaze toward me changed. Moments later, he let out a bitter laugh. I see why you have been so unreasonable today. You are jealous, Zhaorong. I could not bear to listen any longer. It was sickening. Coincidentally, another dance ended just then. I raised my voice. General Lu, you have not yet answered the emperor's question from earlier. Lu Xiang looked confused. What question? Where exactly is your wound? Is it a mortal injury to your core? 5. Lu Xian's face flushed red, then paled white. He stood up abruptly, his armor clattering loudly. Of course not. He was filled with mortification. Your subject's wound is on the back. The princess may summon the imperial physician to examine it at once. I glanced at the emperor, my eyes asking, examine it or not. The emperor shook his head slightly. Of course, he was a general, commanding tens of thousands. He had just won a great victory, and his prestige was at its height. It would not do to make a scene at his victory feast. A eunuch hurried in, his voice shrill, "Your Majesty, Vice General Lin has fainted after the 20 palace floggings." Lu Xiang froze in an instant, his anxiety genuine. Impossible to feign. How is she? Summon the imperial physician at once. He shot a timid glance at the emperor as he spoke. The emperor hummed in assent, a silent approval. Lu Xiang let out a breath of relief. For the rest of the feast, he was distracted, his mind elsewhere. When the feast finally ended, the emperor asked me to stay behind. Lu Xiang took his leave in a hurry, fleeing the hall like a man running for his life. Only the emperor and I remained. And we finally let our guard down. I held a half-eaten chicken leg from the feast, sitting irritably on the dragon case. Brother Emperor, I will never marry him. Our fathers were full brothers. I had grown up in the palace beside the Empress Dowager since childhood. Though only a princess, I was treated as an imperial princess. It would not be an overstatement to call me the apple of the palace's eye. The emperor slouched lazily against the dragon throne, exhausted from a day of formality. Guess who this Lin Yushuang really is? I nearly choked on the chicken leg. An accidental meeting at the border, intimate knowledge of the terrain. Delicate yet repeatedly performing extraordinary feats of merit. There was no such thing as coincidence. Could she be a spy from the enemy state? The emperor mused. You guessed it. Lu Xiang has marched and fought for years. He cannot possibly fail to see this is a honey trap. But he played along with it. Why did he not report it to me? Did he intend to resolve it on his own and present me with the result? The emperor's fingers tapped the table, and my heart thundered like a war drum. To arouse the emperor's suspicion, Lu Xiang was in grave danger. After all, adultery and treason were worlds apart. Zhaorong, go test him again. 6. It was a dark, windy night. The imperial guards at the palace gate said Lu Xiang had not yet left the palace. Lin Yushuang had suffered 20 palace floggings and could not be moved, so she had been specially arranged to recuperate in the palace. Her quarters were not far from mine. I stepped closer on purpose. And heard Lin Yushuang's coquettish whimpers from inside the room. It hurts, General, it really hurts so much. Sure enough, Lu Xiang was here. I waved to signal the palace servants to stop, and went in alone. The door was ajar, and through the crack, I saw Lu Xiang applying medicine to Lin Yushuang. Half of Lin Yushuang's back was exposed, crisscrossed with stick welts. Apparently the executioner had not held back. I covered my mouth and chuckled softly. This must have been my imperial brother's doing. Who's there? Lu Xiang turned around abruptly, on guard. Lin Yushuang also tugged her clothes up in a fluster. I pushed the door open and stepped in, sneering, in the dead of night. What is General Lu still doing in the palace? You too, a lone man and a lonely woman. Half undressed, what exactly are you up to? Lin Yushuang frowned and hung her head, her cheeks flushing bright red. The general is applying medicine to me, princess. Do not speak such vulgar words. Men and women must keep their distance. What kind of decency is this? Are there no palace maids in the palace? I snapped the question, and both of them froze. Lu Xian's patience frayed. Zhaorong, stop being so aggressive. Lin Yushuang shuffled back a little, her eyes wide and innocent. But in the military, we always apply medicine to each other like this. My movements stilled, and I stared at them with utter disbelief. As if I had just heard something utterly sickening. Zhaorong, let me explain. Lu Xiang pushed Lin Yushuang aside and reached for me. I stepped back a few paces, then spun around and ran out. Zhaorong, he called after me, and in 2 strides, chased me all the way to my palace quarters. I stopped and faced him head on. Explain then, explain well, and you might keep your life. 7. Caught off guard by my sudden calm, Lu Xiang froze, unable to find the right words for a moment. Well. Conditions in the military are harsh. We all apply medicine to each other like this. Besides, having fought side by side in battle, she is no different from the other soldiers in my eyes. All are brothers who have fought with me through life and death. A terrible explanation. I shook my head. At the palace feast just now, you called her your younger sister. And now she is your brother. Tell me, do your other brothers also let her apply medicine to them like this? Lu Xiang flared up at once, roaring, "Stop talking nonsense. You are sullying a Shuang's reputation." Seeing him like this, my heart skipped a beat. Lu Xiang, have you fallen for her? Absolutely not. Lu Xiang yelped, as if he had stepped on a thorn, refuting it at once. I am betrothed to you. I will be the princess's consort of Dasui in the future. How could I do such a thing? Zhaorong, you are the only one in my heart. It was plain to see he was guilty, rambling nonsense now. When I said nothing, Lu Xiang panicked, and rambled on with more protestations of his love. Zhaorong, we have known each other since childhood. How can you not believe me? I only feel sorry for a Shuang, alone and helpless, so I have looked after her a little more. I probed again. How is she alone and helpless? Is she not the extraordinary woman of the borderlands? Could there be another secret to her identity? No, Lu Xiang said firmly. I just think it is not easy for a lonely girl like her to join the military. Besides, all the soldiers in the army are under my command. As their general, it is only right that I look after them. His excuses were feeble and forced. A palace maid came running in a fluster then. Princess, General, it is bad news. Vice General Lin has suddenly developed a high fever and is talking deliriously. Lu Xian's pupils constricted sharply, and he turned to run at once. I grabbed his sleeve. There are imperial physicians in the palace. You have not finished talking to me yet. Zhaorong, stop being unreasonable, he snapped, his face unable to conceal his anxiety. He turned back to me, frowning. A Shuang's suffering today is all because of you. I am your fiancé. It is only right that I look after her for you. I pointed a finger at myself, astonished. Me. If you were not so jealous and suspicious of a Shuang for no reason, she would not have acted disrespectfully in the imperial presence. Zhaorong, enough is enough. She has meritorious military service. After all, she is not like you, a lady kept in the inner chambers. With that, Lu Xiang tore his sleeve free and ran hastily out of my palace quarters. I stood there, my mouth half open, stunned for a moment, then I lifted my hand and called a young eunuch over. The palace gates have been locked for the night. How is an outsider male still wandering the palace? Summon the imperial forest guards and throw him out. 8. The night wind was cold. I stood far away, able to make out vague movements inside the side chamber, but hearing every word clearly. Shun Du, the commander of the imperial forest guards, kicked the door of the side chamber open with one foot. General Lu, lingering in the palace in the dead of night is a violation of palace rules. Please leave the palace at once. Lu Xiang had been wiping Lin Yushuang's limbs to cool her fever, and he jumped in shock at the commotion, hurrying to shield Lin Yushuang behind him. Commander Shun, what is the meaning of this? Vice General Lin is injured, and the Emperor has permitted her to recuperate in the palace. Shun Du waved a hand, and 2 guards stepped forward. The atmosphere turned tense in an instant, swords drawn. His Majesty permitted her, not you. Palace rules are strict. General Lu, do not make this difficult for me. Leave at once. Shun Du's voice was cold and hard as iron, leaving no room for negotiation. The imperial forest guards behind him stepped forward a step, their hands resting on their saber hilts. Lu Xian's face turned livid, his anger barely contained. I am the fiancé of Princess Zhaorong. Spending one night in the palace is not too much to ask. Send for the princess, I will speak to her. Shun Du had no patience for his nonsense. But his eyebrows shot up at the mention of my name. This is the princess's order. Lin Yushuang was burning with fever, leaning weakly and delicately against Lu Xiang. General, why does the princess keep picking on me? Lu Xiang glanced at Lin Yushuang, his jaw clenched tight, and ground out my name, Zhaorong. Vice General Lin is burning with fever now. If she is moved out and something happens to her, can you bear the responsibility? She may stay. There are palace maids to attend to her in the palace. General, you may rest assured. Shun Du spoke without expression, making a pleased gesture to Lu Xiang. Lu Xian's eyes widened in sudden alarm. No, she cannot stay in the palace alone. A Shuang, come with me. He tugged her to her feet, but the moment her feet touched the ground, she fainted. The palace servants attending the side chamber hurried forward to support her. Shun Du's patience ran out. General Lu, Stop looking for trouble. His men took the chance to step forward, pinning Lu Xian's shoulders on either side, and hustled him out by force. As the group passed by me, Lu Xiang jumped and shouted, "Zhaorong, you cannot leave a Shuang alone in the palace." "Zhaorong." I paid him no heed. The commotion in the side chamber was so loud that my imperial brother sent someone to inquire about it. I replied, "The fish has taken the bait." 9. I heard Lu Xiang was practically carried out of the palace gates. It was the third watch of the night now, yet he was still pacing anxiously at the palace gate, repeatedly sending the gate guards to deliver messages to me, begging for an audience. Look at this man asking a woman to meet him in the dead of night, with no regard for my reputation at all, I said indignantly. At that moment, I was with Shundu, lying in wait outside my imperial brother's sleeping quarters. At my words, Shundu unconsciously stepped back 2 paces. I leaned in close to him again, whispering, "Do you want to be the princess's consort?" Cough cough. He quickly covered his mouth, the tips of his ears flushing bright red. "Your subject dare not aspire to such a high position." I sighed inwardly. Boring. My imperial brother had said that after I broke off the engagement with Lu Xiang, I could choose my own fiancé, but it would only be the sons of the great aristocratic families, all of them boring. I was just joking. Do not take it to heart, sure. Shundu pressed a finger to my lips. "Someone is coming." I clung to his arm, holding my breath so lightly I dared not even breathe hard. From the shadows of the palace wall, a figure sneaked close to the sleeping quarters. This person's skills were excellent, their lightness kung fu superb. In the dark, the figure leaped up onto the roof, then curled up into a ball, as nimble as a stray cat found everywhere in the palace. Unfortunately, the roof was already swarming with men. We had laid an impregnable net here, waiting for her to walk right into it. After a brief scuffle, 4 or 5 figures jumped down from the roof, carrying a sack slung over their shoulders, and nodded in my and Shundu's direction. Shundu whispered, "The princess is truly prescient." I let go of his arm and smoothed out my skirt. "It is not prescience, but my imperial brother's meticulous planning. Let us go, see what this extraordinary woman, who has Lu Xiang so distracted and worried, is really up to." 10. The side chamber was brightly lit. Lin Yushuang was tied up hand and foot and thrown on the ground, a tattered cloth stuffed in her mouth, making constant woo-woo sounds. "Princess." This was found on her person. I glanced at the object in the imperial guard's hand, frowning. "What is this, Your Highness?" "The imperial physician has examined it just now. It is a sleeping powder." She was just about to lift a roof tile and blow the powder in when she was caught outside the emperor's sleeping quarters. I drawled a long "Oh," knock everyone out in the sleeping quarters, then jump down and kill my imperial brother. Lin Yushuang thrashed about like a fish out of water, straining against her bonds. I waved a hand, signaling everyone to leave. "Go and report to the emperor. Tell the 3 judicial departments to hold an urgent trial tonight. I have a little personal business to ask her first." Shundu looked worried. "No, what if this rebel harms the princess?" I tapped a finger on Shundu's chest. "Then you stay and protect me, Tilda." Shundu's face flushed even redder in the lamplight. He tightened his grip on his saber and replied steadily, "Yes, Your Highness." He stood at my side, his sharp gaze fixed on Lin Yushuang. The palace servants filed out one by one. Leaving only the 3 of us in the side chamber, I paced over to Lin Yushuang, squatted down, and met her bitter, unwilling eyes at eye level. I reached out and pulled an unremarkable wooden hairpin from her hair. A lonely girl raised in the bitter cold of the borderlands, familiar with the terrain, a good swimmer, skilled in martial arts, and able to make a man as arrogant as Lu Xiang protect her at every turn. This is the mark of rigorous training. I dragged the hairpin lightly across her cheek, leaving a red streak. In an instant, half her cheek swelled up badly. "Poisonous," I said, and threw the hairpin away like a hot potato. "This is your weapon, is it not? Able to kill with a single strike, and if the mission fails, you can use it to kill yourself." What a pity, the imperial forest guards are quick-handed. Lin Yushuang's cheek was corroded, oozing black blood, a sickening sight. She rolled on the ground in agony, making painful sounds from her throat. "Oh, I forgot the cloth was still stuffed in her mouth. I will ask you only one thing. Do you think Lu Xiang was playing along with you, or did he fall for the act for real? 11. As soon as the cloth was removed from Lin Yushuang's mouth, she tried to bite off her tongue at once. Shun Du moved with lightning speed, rushing forward to clamp his hand over her mouth. Behave yourself, don't even think about dying. I rolled up my sleeves and slapped her uninjured cheek hard twice with a sharp crack. You need to know this, the 3 judicial departments have hundreds of tortures that will make you wish for death. Speak the truth now, and I'll make sure they give you a quick end. Lin Yushuang's mouth hung open, her chest heaving violently. I leaned down again, whispering in her ear, "It's not like I'm asking you to betray your master. You were using a honey trap from the start. I just want to hear how it went. Tell me, how far did you get?" With that, I sat down on the bed, looking down at her with an eager expression, as if listening to a storyteller spin a tale in the marketplace. Lin Yushuang stared at me in a daze, taking a deep breath. After a long while, she said, "I played with your fiancé like a dog. Naturally, we did everything that needed to be done. He said he'd marry me and take responsibility for me." I crossed my legs, growing even more curious. But he's the future princess's consort, with a boundless future ahead. Did he not resist at all when you seduced him? Lin Yushuang let out a cold laugh, looking at me with pity. Not at all, he took the bait at once. I muttered to myself, "Why though, you're not even breathtakingly beautiful." Staring at her face, now swollen like a pig's head, I was utterly confused. Was he playing along, using reverse psychology? "Do you think he knew you were a Northern DI spy?" Lin Yushuang froze, her mouth hanging open, unable to answer. I went on, "He's a general who studied the art of war since he was a child. Could he really not see through such a simple ploy?" Ignoring her twisting, contorting expression, I continued, "Guess why Lu Xiang brought you to the palace today? He could have left you behind entirely for the victory feast, a great victory, and a Northern DI spy more than enough as a betrothal gift for my imperial brother." I smiled, adding, "Look at you. He used you for nothing all this time. You endured endless humiliation at the victory feast today, and now you can't even save your own life. TSK, which Northern DI organization are you from? How could you ever trust a man?" Lin Yushuang let out a scream, her only open eye glaring at me venomously, unable to utter a single word. She had broken. The men from the 3 judicial departments arrived in a hurry. I glanced outside the door, saying slowly, "I've finished asking about General Lu. I'll report to the Emperor in person. Thank you for your trouble, gentlemen." 12. Stepping out of the side chamber, I put on a cold, impassive expression. Even if it was just a victory of words, I would have it. I would make these 2 die without ever understanding why. Shun Du followed behind me, silent the whole way. The sky was turning pale with the first light of dawn, nearly time for the morning court. After a night of chaos, I hurried to report to the emperor. When my imperial brother heard Lu Xiang had stood guard at the palace gate all night, he let out a cold snort. "General Lu must be exhausted after returning from the campaign. Tell him to return to his mansion and rest. He need not attend court today." His tone was as cold as ice. He met my gaze deeply then, saying, "Zhaorong, go to his mansion to see him today." I understood my imperial brother's meaning in an instant. He wanted Lu Xiang gone. On the way back to my palace, exhaustion overwhelmed me, my foot slipped, and Shun Du stepped forward to steady me. Finally, he could hold back no longer, asking, "Princess, why did you exonerate General Lu and even credit him with capturing the spy?" He clearly had no intention of reporting her to the emperor. I rested my hand on his arm, walking slowly. "The emperor knows the truth. This story is just for the outside world to hear." I sighed. After all, Lu Xiang and I were betrothed. If it gets out that he lost his wits over love and even brought an enemy spy into the palace, I'll become the laughingstock of the entire kingdom. This engagement was set by the late emperor grandfather. How could we disregard the honor of the royal family? We needed both the appearance and the reality of propriety. Naturally, this wooden-headed man before me would not understand, but I had plenty of free time. I could train him. "Go back and rest first. Accompany me to the Lu mansion this afternoon." Shun Du nodded and took his leave. The morning sun rose, casting a sea of golden light. I stood in the court of punishments, my fingers brushing over the instruments one by one, a dagger, a white silk ribbon, poisoned wine. I thought for a moment, and decided to take them all, strangle him with the white silk, force the poisoned wine down his throat, and finally stab him a few times. Even that would not be enough to quench my anger. 13. In the afternoon, Shundu and I arrived at the Lu mansion. Imperial forest guards had already sealed off all its exits. Lu Xiang had clearly not slept a wink all night, dark circles under his eyes, his clothes still damp with night dew. When he saw me, a flash of joy crossed his face, quickly replaced by anxiety. Zhaorong, what happened in the palace? How is a Shuang? Why did the emperor send me back to the mansion and post so many imperial forest guards here? General Lu. I raised a hand to cut him off, my voice calm and emotionless. Lin Yushuang attempted to assassinate the emperor. She has been thrown into the imperial prison. Lu Xian's face paled drastically, and he stumbled back a step. How could she attempt to assassinate the emperor? She was still seriously ill. No, that can't be, it can't be. I pulled out a chair and sat down. Shundu stood silently at my side, his hand always resting on his saber hilt. Do you know who she really is? Faced with my question, Lu Xiang forced himself to stay calm. She's just the orphan girl I met at the border. Who else could she be? She knew the northern DI's defenses and waterways like the back of her hand, saving you from mortal danger time and again. You saw the wooden hairpin in her hair, didn't you? It's coated with a deadly poison meant to kill you at first. Until she realized a honey trap was more than enough for you. As Lu Xiang listened, his lips turned white, his eyes darting about in evasion. That's impossible, it can't be true, a Shuang could never be a spy. Watching his clumsy act, I let out a laugh. We've known each other since childhood. I watched you grow up studying the art of war. Why are you putting on such an act now? An act? What act? His stubborn refusal to admit the truth was utterly ridiculous. I shook my head. Feigning regret, when Lin Yushuang was captured last night, she went to great lengths to distance herself from you. She said all this was her own plot, that you knew nothing, and begged that you not be implicated. Lu Xiang, who had been putting on a brave face until then, collapsed at my words, his lips trembled, his eyes filled with disbelief. What did you say, a Shuangshi? Look at him, still claiming he didn't fall for Lin Yushuang for real. It was sickening to watch. Lu Xiang clung tightly to the edge of the table, his whole body shaking uncontrollably. I am utterly loyal to the emperor, Zhaorong. I truly knew nothing. I just thought she was different from everyone else. He could barely force the words out, his face twisted in agony. TSK. He really put himself through this. Different. So you fell in love with her, is that it? I stated the conclusion for him, my voice as cold as ice. Even when you knew there was something wrong with her, you still clung to hope, thinking you could control her, or that you were moved by each other's so-called deep love. Lu Xiang tried to argue, but my words hit him right where it hurt, leaving him speechless. This man was the height of stupidity, bewitched by beauty, clinging to blind hope, putting his personal feelings above the safety of the kingdom. He probably even reveled in the dangerous thrill of it all. I averted my gaze, looking out the window, and signaled for the poisoned wine and white silk to be brought in. 14. When Lu Xiang saw the tray in the Imperial Forest Guard's hands, his eyes constricted sharply. He dropped to his knees before me with a loud thud. Zhaorong, I know I was wrong. Please beg the emperor to forgive me. I really know I was wrong. He grabbed at the hem of my dress, only to be roughly pushed away by Shundu. We've been betrothed since childhood. You can't let me die. My eyes were empty now. Too tired to say another word to him. You brought this on yourself. What can I do? Everyone inside and outside this room just heard you admit it. You fell in love with an enemy spy. Lu Xian's face filled with terror, and he banged his head against the ground repeatedly, the sound echoing. Zhaorong, listen to me. I was just confused for a moment. I never meant to betray Dasui, and I would never betray you. Lu Xiang crawled forward on his knees, trying to grab my skirt. But Shundu blocked him with the hilt of his saber. Presumptuous. Shundu's voice was cold and hard as iron. Confused for a moment, I let out a cold laugh. If she had succeeded last night, the Northern DI's iron cavalry would have already breached our border passes by now. How is your conduct any different from treason? I stood up, turning my back to him. You knew Lin Yushuang's identity was suspicious, yet you still fell for her, General Lu. Do you know those victories at the border were all a trap set for you? Enough was said, it was time for him to go, I said to Shendu. Give him a quick end. No, Lu Xiang suddenly lunged to his feet, shoving Shendu aside and pouncing at me. I was caught off guard, and he grabbed my arm. Zhaorong, save me this once. I promise I'll be a good consort to you from now on, and serve the emperor loyally. He spoke in a frantic rush, his eyes filled with desperate supplication. Shendu drew his saber, the tip pointing straight at Lu Xian's heart. Let go of the princess. But Lu Xiang had lost his mind. At the sight of the saber, he suddenly turned and clamped his hand around my neck. Tensions reached a breaking point. He held me hostage, slowly backing out of the room. Let me leave, or we'll die together. 15. Lu Xian's grip tightened more and more, and soon I could not breathe. Shendu's face was filled with panic, his knuckles white as he gripped his saber. But he did not dare to make a move. Lu Xiang, you're insane. I forced the words out, barely able to speak. You forced me to this. His eyes were bloodshot as he dragged me back step by step toward the courtyard gate. I just fell in love with someone. What crime is that? Imperial forest guards closed in layer upon layer, the blades of their swords glinting coldly in the sun. No one dared to act rashly. Lu Xian's arm constricted even tighter, and I was on the verge of suffocation. Let me leave the city. Prepare a fast horse, he roared at Shendu, or I'll strangle her right now. Shendu's face turned ashen, but he had no choice but to raise his hand and signal for everyone to step back. At this critical moment, a feathered arrow cut through the air, shooting straight through the arm Lu Xiang had wrapped around my neck. He let out a scream and released me. I took the chance to break free, stumbling into Shendu's arms as he rushed forward to catch me. Seize him, Shendu shouted sharply. Imperial forest guards swarmed forward, pinning the wounded Lu Xiang to the ground, holding him fast, still shaken. I looked up and saw that the courtyard walls were also lined with Imperial forest guards, their bows drawn. Zhaorong, Lu Xiang lay pinned to the ground, still staring at me unwillingly. Why won't you let me go? I straightened my lapels and knelt down before him, whispering in his ear. I lied to you. Lin Yushuang said she used you from start to finish, played with you, like a dog. I'm just like her. We both lured the general into the trap. Lu Xiang stared at me in a daze, let out a heart-wrenching wail, and the last glimmer of light in his eyes faded away. I stood up and nodded at Shendu. A flash of steel, and blood splattered 3 feet across the ground. The high-spirited young general died just like that, in his own mansion. I tossed Lin Yushuang's wooden hairpin beside his body, then left the Northern DI token I had prepared long ago. According to my imperial brother's plan, Lu Xiang had died at the hands of Northern DI assassins, and my great Dasui would naturally avenge this illustrious, battle-hardened general. 16. As I walked out of the Lu mansion, the sunlight was harsh and blinding. I raised my hand to shield my eyes. Shendu walked silently in front of me, blocking the sun for me. Princess, please accept my condolences. I froze for a moment, then laughed bitterly. Why would I need condolences? He lowered his head. Your subject spoke out of turn. Yes, why would I need condolences? My fiancé was dead, but we had eliminated a Northern DI spy, and given my imperial brother another excuse to attack the Northern DI. It sounded like a very good deal. Only occasionally, I would think back to our childhood. The boy who said he would become a great general to protect me, the boy who rode horses with me through the fields. In the end, he died in a tender trap at the border. Shendu, your subject is here. Lu Xiang is dead. Dasui is short a general. I turned to look at him, suddenly remembering that night beneath the palace wall, when I asked if he wanted to be the princess's consort. How red his ears had turned. Would you like to try? I raised an eyebrow. There was burning ambition in Shendu's eyes. I knew his talent was more than enough for the position. All I had to do was recommend him to my imperial brother. Your subject dare not, he said, bowing his head humbly. I teased him. You have to. After all, I only marry generals. Shendu's head shot up, a flash of fluster in his eyes. Your subject, I laughed out loud. my mood suddenly lifting a great deal. I'm just joking. I turned and walked toward the palace. My skirt swishing against the bluestone path. Let's go, my imperial brother must be waiting anxiously. I only marry generals, Shundu included, but not limited to him. Now we would see how he would recommend himself in the coming battle, and whether he would be loyal to me. There was no shortage of brave men in Dasui. If this one did not work out, I would just find another.